Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to today's edition of Tuesday Fight Night here at Nugget Bridge. I'm Aaron Cybertron Zhang, and with me is my good friend.
Aaron Unreality trailer, and we're going to be looking at Enosh, human, versus Kamaal, FonicFrog.
So I guess to just start off, both of these players, Enosh and Kamaal, are high-class players, regarded as two of the best in North America, and they're currently both in the running for a World's invitation, and this is really exciting to watch them play. They're both using some fairly standard teams. You can see them on the top and the bottom, put there from our producer Matt Sabeldin, and yeah, they're fairly standard teams, but Enosh has some cool twists on his team. You want to talk about his team?
I don't know. I like the Latias coming out from Enosh. That's something that we don't normally get to see.
Yeah, that's what caught my attention too.
Yeah, usually we see Latios, which is like, we see that actually on Kamaal's team.
Yep.
It's fine, but Latias has some neat tricks. Like, it can learn Heal Pulse, Reflect type, which copies the types of whatever it targets. It's neat. And Sucker Punch, I think. Maybe that's Latias. I don't know. Random tangent.
Yeah, and looking at the team matchup, it's really interesting because Human is running kind of a semi-rain team with Politoed and Kingdra, and Kamaal has Tyranitar along with Landorus T, which is so more of a sand type team. Not both teams not dedicated to weather, but they have the weather to control with. What do you think about this matchup?
I kind of like how it's looking for Enosh. I think he has a lot of presence, and it'll be interesting to see what he can do once he takes care of Rotom W.
Yeah, definitely. That Rotom W looks like it can be really annoying against Enosh, but it depends on whether we're talking about a more bulky build or a straight up like choice specs variant. But I would expect Kamaal to run a more bulky build here.
Yeah, Kamaal is noted as one of the most, he prefers bulky teams, and we've seen that out of him a lot. He's been around for a really long time, and I think every year he just runs something extremely bulky.
Right, and Kamaal's a player who you won't really see many 252s here, but I can see his Latios being fairly standard, but all the other Pokemon, they can have a trick or two up their sleeve.
Yeah.
And it looks like we're getting started with the battle.
The game is starting. Exciting.
Yeah. I really want to see if a Human brings Latias here, because I know he ran a Haben variant, and this team is what he actually used at Regionals in Philadelphia in 2012. I think he got 3rd place with it, so let's see. And he chooses to lead with Latias and Metagross.
Okay. I'm a little bit... Oh, here we go. Latias and Metagross. Okay, yeah.
And Kamaal leads with Cresselia and Rotom Wash.
I think that Enosh definitely has a really good position right here.
It can go both ways, to be honest. But yeah, I mean Enosh is definitely threatening more offense right now, but it really depends on what kind of set he's running. I mean, Kamaal's running on both Rotom and Cresselia.
Yeah, if he could be going for something like what we saw on Junpei's 2012 Worlds team.
That was a really cool team. For those that don't know, Junpei was a Japanese master who got 8th at Worlds last year, and he is kind of a gimmicky team with really offensive Pokemon, even though, stuff like Cresselia and Metagross, and he actually ran offensive Cresselia with Protect and Choice Band Metagross, something that allows you to, put your opponent into a big hole before the battle even starts. So, yeah, Kamaal might be running something like that. And Enosh starts off with a substitute on Latias, which is a really interesting move. I like that play.
Yeah,
and Rotom going for the Will-O-Wisp.
Kamaal isn't having any of that. He's just going to go right for Metagross.
And Metagross is not Lung Buried, so now his attack will be reduced to half for the rest of the battle. And wow, that did nothing to Cresselia, but he gets a nice flinch. You'd have to imagine him going for something like an Ice Beam on that Latias this turn.
Yeah. Metagross is practically dead weight as of right now.
Yeah, that Will-O-Wisp was really a great play on Kamaal's side, and that's something I like. Will-O-Wisp Rotom is not a very common move. I mean, it's not a very common set, but clearly working out here. And Yeah, I can't. I mean, Latias I would expect is more bulky in this situation because it is running substitutes. So Enosh is not threatening very much on the offensive right now, and I'd say he's on the backseat right now, and Kamaal's got the advantage.
Yeah, Metagross is interesting because he can't cut its attack with because it has the ability Clear Body. So most teams try and cut it with Intimidate, but here he's got Will-O-Wisp. I think something that's neat is this is probably a Hydro Pumpless Rotom Wash, which means it's not carrying the base 120 power water move.
Right, and
Sure.
that's typically surprising because we do see that on Rotom very often, and so Latias goes straight for a Dragon Pulse on Rotom, and wow, just look how bulky it is. It does less than half to it.
Jeez.
Rotom goes for a Thunderbolt, and Metagross tanks it pretty well too. And wow, we see a Psychic Gem Metagross.
Psychic Gem. That's not very common. Okay.
Yeah. Enosh,
Right.
and yeah, look at that. Wow. Rotom tanking it, and Cresselia going for a Light Screen.
So this is like a much bulkier variant of what we saw from Junpei. Enosh,
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Enosh is up a creek without a paddle right now, except for that substitute. If he did not have that substitute up, he would have a terrible, terrible, awful, no good, very bad position.
Yeah, I mean, for him right now, it's just sitting there. But at the same time, Dragon Pulse is doing a decent amount. Though after that Light Screen, it's going to be, it's the damage is reduced to 2/3, and Metagross is, like we said, dead weight. You saw the Zen Headbutt with the Psychic Gem, and that barely did a third to Rotom. So Enosh just got to switch out his Pokemon if he wants to, gain an advantage on the offensive end.
He might just leave him in to die. Metagross is not going to do anything.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree with that play. I think, based off Enosh's team, it looks more on the special side with Metagross and Terrakion as his only two physical sweepers. So Kamaal made a great play there by using Light Screen, and now you have to wonder whether Cresselia is running Light Clay or not.
Yeah. So that was turn 1. So we'll see. We'll keep some track.
Right. And for those that don't know, Light Clay boosts Light Screen and Reflect from 5 turns to 8 turns. So basically the length of a typical VGC match.
Yeah. I'm interested in what Kamaal's next move is because he's got this awesome position. Now, what's he gonna do with it?
Yeah.
I don't think he's just gonna sit around. I think he's got something else.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to imagine he wants to take care of that Latias on his side, but on Enosh's side, I mean. And looking at Kamaal's team, he has the Escavalier, and if he could bring that in and set up Trick Room, that would be really bad for Enosh.
Ooh, if he switched Rotom out, and yeah, that would be awful, and I don't see Enosh coming back from that at all.
Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier, Rotom W is going to just pound through Enosh's team, but right now it's pretty low. So after that gets taken down, I think that Enosh might have a better chance.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I want to mention on right now is how Enosh, you see the Thundurus on his team, and you see the Politoed and the Kingdra, and that typically, says, oh, I'm relying on faster Pokemon. You see Latias and Terrakion too, which are 2 of the faster Pokemon in the metagame. And so, he relies on speed. He will rely on speed, but if Kamaal has Trick Room...
So cool.
Wow. I just have never seen that before. I don't even know. Wow. We see a rest from Rotom Wash, and it has the Chesto Berry waking it up. And
he's going for a little bit more of a KO, and isn't Enosh surprised to find out that it's back at full? Oh my god.
That was... This is just some beautiful stuff we're watching, ladies and gentlemen. Like,
I'm really glad that we got to see this.
Yeah.
I hope to see more.
Right now, Latias, the Metagross, and the Rotom Wash, 3 very unconventional sets. Rotom and Metagross are more typically used Pokemon, but right now the sets we've seen on both are very, very uncommon. Especially that Rotom. That was a beautiful play on Enosh's. On Kamaal's side. My bad.
Yeah. So now, without a huge nuke, like Enosh does not have a Dragon Gem Draco Meteor to take down Rotom.
Right.
He's got to rely. He doesn't have anything to rely on without switching it out, but I don't think he has anything to switch out.
With the Light Screen up, it's going to be really hard for him to take down that Rotom Wash, and Terrakion would probably be his best bet. But right. if you were Enosh, you probably wouldn't even bring Terrakion to this matchup because actually all 6 of Kamal's Pokemon can hit that for super effective.
Yeah, I think that Enosh is just leaving his Pokemon in to die.
And, you know, normally that would be a good strategy, but Kamaal was just taking complete advantage of that, and we saw that with the rest. And he finally switches out the Rotom to Tyranitar, which is a play I like.
This is so not good for Enosh. I don't think he's going to predict this.
Let's see. Okay, so Enosh goes for another substitute, and, you know, while I think that's an alright play, he's not offering any offense whatsoever right now, and you see Kamal's just taking full advantage of it. He's, you know, he got a free switch into Tyranitar, and he goes for the Ice Beam on Metagross. What do you think about that play?
You know, I think he just wants some damage on it. It's telling that he doesn't have Hidden Power Fire, or he was expecting to switch, but I think it doesn't have Hidden Power Fire.
You know, I like the play because Latias doesn't offer any offense right now, and, you know, if Metagross either just takes some damage or, you know, you switch out to it, and right now, his Cresselia, if you guys noted, is actually slower than his Metagross, which is an interesting thing to know. And I'm guessing like Kamaal is running Trick Room, and I've actually seen him run Trick Room before without a Psychic attack. So a set on Cresselia, which would be like Trick Room, Ice Beam, Swagger, and I believe Helping Hand. So
Enosh gets it off, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
Enosh just used Recover, which is cool. Unfortunately,
it's a cool
not
move,
to do him anything.
Yeah, exactly. And you see Kamaal going for the nice double target there, an Ice Beam and a Crunch, and that doesn't take it down, but brings it down to very close. And after Sandstorm, Latias is at 17 HP, and Metagross is KO'd. You know, I'm surprised that Kamaal didn't go for, say, something like a Trick Room there, because, you know, I'm pretty sure he'd be running Trick Room on that Cresselia. But at the same time, you know, you can't complain if you're in his position. You got a free KO on, you got a KO on the Metagross, and Latias is very close.
And here comes Terrakion.
Wow, so...
Unless Tyranitar doesn't have Protect, I don't see any way for Enosh to win this game.
Yeah, he is in a very difficult position right now. I'm impressed that he actually ended up bringing Terrakion, considering if you look at... Yeah, I mean, like based off the team previews, I don't know if I would have brought in Terrakion just because Kamal's team seems to do so well against it. Like, you can't hit Cresselia or Lander's team very hard. Latios outspeeds you. Escavalier can one-hit KO you. Rotomosh, if it's bulk, I mean, with the fight gen, maybe, but it's not a Pokemon you would expect to be in this matchup just because it doesn't, you know, offer very much.
Yeah. Enosh is practically forced to use Recover on Latias if he wants any chance. And attack Tyranitar. And Kamaal sees that so clearly. He definitely has a clear idea of what's going to happen.
Yeah, so I mean, if Kamaal can get up a Trick Room this turn, I'd imagine this game would pretty much be over.
Yeah. Enosh doesn't really have that much to deal with Trick Room unless his team has some sort of Trick Room mode.
Yeah, and for his last Pokemon, I assumed he probably brought Politoed or Dunkers, actually.
Yeah, we might see.
I know he tends to like offensive Politoed with a Water Gem, and we see Kamaal go into Lander's T here, so probably not setting up Trick Room.
Yeah, it's just Enosh is falling right into his hands, you know.
Yeah, he's not even. I mean, the Rock Slide.
He predicts it. That's nice. It's a nice prediction from Enosh.
But I mean, when you're in this position, there's only so much you can predict because Kamaal has just got everything going for him. He's got the Intimidate. He's got the Light Screen up. He's just tanking all these attacks. And let's see if we get a flinch out of Cresselia. Oh, nope, it gets a Psychic off. So he is running a Psychic attack on it.
I think, have we seen its full moveset? We've seen Light Screen,
Psychic, and Ice Beam.
Ice Beam. Yeah, so last one's probably Trick Room?
I would assume so, but you never know. And that was actually a critical hit on the Terrakion. So even with the critical hit, did not KO it.
You know, I think in the grand scheme of things, that really didn't matter.
Yeah.
But that was nice to have something to...
It's just so difficult for Enosh to pull out anything right now. I mean, that's what I love about Light Screen. When you can set up a Light Screen, you're in such an advantage for the rest of the game. And, you know, I actually used Light Clay Latias for a while, and I love using that because it allows for the rest of your team to just set up nicely.
Huh. That's interesting. I'm glad to see a lot of talk about Latias because, you know, it doesn't really get the spotlight all that much. Its brother is sort of a hog.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's not a Pokemon that's used very often, but I think it has a lot of potential. It's difficult to manage to use and finding the right set to. But you know, Ray Rizzo brought it to regionals, and Enosh used this in last year's Philadelphia regionals, and he's done well with it. So there's a lot of room for potential. It's just hard to use when you have so many other Pokemon that pretty much outclass it.
I think that it's really commendable of Latias to have lived for this long.
Yeah.
Through a Granitar Crunch, several Ice Beams, a couple Sub Breaks. It's just staying alive.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, normally it'd be nice, but it's not doing anything for Enosh right now. There's only so much you can do with Dragon Pulse Recover and Substitute.
Yeah. I think he's just waiting for the light screen to go down, but he doesn't have any way to prevent Cresselia from light screening again.
Right, and I'm actually looking at Enosh's team again, and he does not have a single way to hit Cresselia for super effective damage. And, that can be a real issue when you're running when you're running attackers, but you don't have a solid way to counter or check Cresselia, because Cresselia can just, it has Citrus Berry, it's so bulky, it can set up Trick Room, and when you don't have an efficient way to deal with it, you have to really dedicate most of your time to hitting it, and in that case, you spend less time focusing on the opponent.
Okay, yeah. That's a problem. Sorry. That's a problem I run into a lot when team building. Hitting Cresselia is super effective. It is just so hard, and half the stuff you pick doesn't work out.
Exactly. And, we see it doing its job right here. Cresselia's been out in the field ever since the first turn of the battle, and it has probably 60% of its health left, and Latias and Terrakion really won't be doing much because Latias, there's currently a light screen up, and Terrakion is intimidated.
And we see Thundurus coming out, but I wonder if Kamaal will have predicted... Oh, no, he doesn't.
Oh, so the EQ it's just negated. So nice play by Enosh there, getting a free switch in. And Latias going for an Icy Wind, so that's the last attack on Latias.
Oh,
that's interesting.
Cool. So he isn't running HP Fire. But the problem with him not running HP Fire is now Kamaal knows that he can just use Escavalier to run through his team. And I think we're going to see that game too. Light screen goes back up. Landorus has to be switched out or just in to die. Yeah,
I'd imagine Enosh wants to take care of that Cresselia. If he can take care of it, then he can actually create a win condition where he can KO the rest of Kamaal's team. So he's actually not completely, the game's not completely over, but he's got his work cut out for him.
Something else that's important to note is that also, Enosh knows that Kamaal's Cresselia is not running HP Fire. So next game, if he plays his Metagross right, he can just run through Cresselia. So I think that's something Kamaal has to watch out for.
Right. What were the 4 attacks on Cresselia again?
It's got Light Screen. We suppose it has Trick Room because of Escava, whatever. We have Psychic and Ice Beam.
Yeah. It's interesting that he's actually running Psychic instead of Psy-Shock, which is often more common on the Psychic-type Pokemon we see in the metagame, but it's not really a big difference, and it won't really matter much in this matchup. That is, unless Enosh's Thundurus is bulky, but based off his HP, it doesn't look very bulky.
Yeah.
And so we see Kamaal deciding on his moves this turn. He's still got the upper hand, but the Icy Wind basically forces a switch, and you have to wonder what set Thundurus is running here.
Well, we know Enosh pretty well, you and me. We know that he loves bulky Thundurus. Ever since Ray won Worlds with it, Enosh has been... He actually came up to me and he's like, I've got a problem. I run bulky Thundurus on every team, and I don't know how to team build without it. This is such a problem. So, I think we're going to see it. Yep, it's got... Well, okay, it's got Taunt.
Let's do Latias going for a Dragon Pulse. Okay, so I like that. And Cresselia not going for a Trick Room, just attacking right away, going for an Ice Beam. And wow, that did a lot.
I don't know why he's so afraid of Trick Rooming. Maybe he doesn't have it and he's just faking it. But
Yeah, and I actually want to correct myself. Ray just informed me that the difference between Psychic and Psyshock does matter because it allowed Terrakion to live a critical hit, the critical hit Psychic, and I completely forgot about that just because I negated the fact that Terrakion is actually Rock type and Tyranitar is not the only Pokemon in the metagame that gets a boost from Sandstorm.
wow, shout out to my idol Ray Rizzo for helping us out yet again.
You can always rely on him.
Oh, what a guy! What a guy!
And one thing I want to point out is the pronunciation of the Bug Steel Pokemon. I say it's Cavalier, but I don't know about you.
I've just given up in general. You know, it's a hard name. I don't know why they put that in the game. I think that in the next generation, we're definitely going to see Pokemon with easier names to pronounce.
You know, man, I think there are always a couple of difficult ones.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
All right, let's get back to the battle. Actually,
well, you know, what do we have to say?
I mean, Cresselia pretty much just like Latias, Thunders, and Terrakion all struggle against it, and its HP is finally getting lower, but there's still a light screen up.
Yeah.
And the Tyranitar switching. Yeah, the Tyranitar switching is really nice too because once again, Latias and Thunders can't really hit Tyranitar for much damage, and with the light screen and Sandstorm boost up, it's just they won't be able to take care of Tyranitar very efficiently.
Actually, the way Enosh has played this, did Landorus faint?
No, it's switched
it did
out.
Not. Okay, the way Enosh has played this, if he can get it into a position where he outnumbers Rotom W with his Pokemon, especially with Latias, because Rotom W is not running a move that can hit Latias for super effective, or not very effective. I mean, anything but not very effective. He can roll through.
I can see what you're going for, and okay, so this turn we see E-Jump T-Bolt onto the Tyranitar and a Dragon Pulse onto it, a double target,
targeting it.
And wow, no KO. I think that's pretty much the game.
Screen, plus the special defense boost from Sandstorm is going to keep it in there, and that was sort of a last-ditch effort by Enosh, which would have totally worked out if it weren't for light screen.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we might just end up seeing
left is a 16 HP Terrakion.
And yeah, we might just see the 4-0 here.
Yeah, unfortunate, but Enosh played it really, really well, given the disadvantage he was at from turn 1.
Yeah, definitely. The fact that Kamaal was running a Chesto Rest, Rotom Wash, that was impressive in itself too, and that totally caught Enosh off guard. And he had a lot to catch up on after that. And yeah, the game 1 is pretty much over.
17 HP. Please excuse my vile injustice. Yeah, it's over.
Okay, so let's talk about adjustments. Like, do you like what they brought to the first game? What don't you like?
Switching Tyranitar out, going for the 4-0, classy Kamaal. I gotta say that I don't know. I really like Kamaal's team. I think it's really solid, and even though Enosh has Rain, I don't see him breaking the Sand team of Kamaal.
Yeah. And interesting that he didn't bring either Rain components in this game. And we see a flinch on Cresselia. Can we see Enosh just flinch his way through this game?
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so it's not going to be a 4-0.
Yeah.
Alright, very good job by Enosh. Just, yeah. What's interesting is that apart from Latios, which I don't really think Kamaal is in the mood to bring, he doesn't. Oh, well, yeah.
I honestly think Latios would not be a bad pick if you're Kamaal here, but both players opting for Pokemon I was honestly a bit surprised to see, and still not giving up, still putting some fight into it.
Never give up, never surrender, and not Shakar, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe he wants to protect as many times in a row to save some face. Oh, light screen wore off. That's what he's waiting for. Terrakion has a huge special move pool with Hyper Beam, Ancient Power, Hidden Path, and Round. Yeah. So
I don't think we'll be seeing that
I
set
don't
on
think we'll be
Trackdown
seeing
today,
it either.
unfortunately.
But next game, I think it really comes down to Rotom Wash. If Enosh can break that, and the way he can do that is with Kingdra and Thundurus
Right.
and Terrakion. He can't do it any other way.
It's just I love the way Kamaal's team is built because he has Cresselia to set up Light Screen, which immediately takes care of Latias, Polykindra, and Thundurus a decent amount, and then if for the Terrakion you have the Intimidate from the Landorus Sea, and then finally you have Will-O-Wisp from Rotom Walk. So all of them, the damage can be easily reduced.
Yeah, exactly.
And Rock Slide does not flinch the Rotom, so we get a 3-0 victory from Kamaal here. Well played by both sides, but just Kamaal was in such an advantage after the first couple of turns. It would be very difficult for Enosh to win.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a trend in general. It'll be difficult for him to try to offer some offensive output because of the reasons we mentioned before.
Yeah. And if you guys have any questions, tweet us at nuggetbridge.com. No, just at nuggetbridge. I'm new to Twitter.
Yeah, we'll be answering questions after the show, so let us know. Just anything related to Pokemon. It doesn't even have to be related to Pokemon. It can be about Aaron and I's great friendship, or we could talk about the new changes to Nationals that's coming up in a couple of weeks, which will be really interesting.
Those are really exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm excited to watch it from California. Oh, that'll be so much fun.
I know Scott was saying how he might, if he could, bubble Nats and still get the invite, and he'd rather do that and play in the singles tournament.
Yeah.
Which I can see where he's coming from,
That's a pretty sweet prize. So for those of you who have
14 hours of Pokemon is always a bit much for anyone.
Oh, yes. For those of you who haven't heard, there's some neat side tournaments at Nationals, including a Singles Cup and a Triples Cup, which, as the names imply, they are single battles and triple battles, and I think the winners receive 3D Essence.
Yeah, they do, and 2 boxes of your favorite Pokemon trading card game set. Which is...
I use my Pokemon cards to line my cat's litter box.
I don't know about you. But that should be exciting. Nationals is really turning out. It really looks like it's going to be the best just tournament we've had. I mean, obviously not Worlds level, but I'm really excited. And we're finally going to Game 2 between Enosh and Kamaal.
Alright, awesome. I'm excited to see what Enosh has to lead against the powerhouse defensive team of Rotom Wash and Cresselia.
Yeah.
What's a lead that you would bring against that? Like, I can't imagine what I would do.
I think, yeah, that's difficult. I definitely want Thundurus in there. I think I might go Thundurus Metagross, to be honest.
If he can, yeah, because
you can taunt with Thundurus and Metagross. If it's not, Will-O-Wisp, then it can actually do some offensive damage. But
problem with that is if Kamaal switches it up, Enosh is completely in the open. Like Cresselia, Landorus T would just smash.
Exactly. And okay, I'm looking through Enosh's team, and I definitely don't want to lead with Terrakion just because so many things can go wrong. And Terrakion, you kind of want to use as a late game sweeper. Bring it out when Kamaal's finally running low.
I'm surprised that he's bringing Terrakion because everything on his team, on Kamaal's team, seems designed to kill Terrakion.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why it was surprising to see it in the last game. And we didn't really see it too much because when you an intimidated Terrakion, like it just first of all won't be doing damage to very many things. Even though Terrakion is such a nice physical sweeper, it just especially against a team like Kamaal's, it can't really do much against a Cresselia, the Landorus, even Latios, and Rotom. So it'll be interesting to see if he brings it back again, but I don't know.
I think it's going to be interesting. You go right ahead. Keep going.
It's just let's if you're Enosh, you need to figure out a way for you to really get your offense set up, and I think Taunt might be the best way to do that. And Thundurus, Metagross, the Landorus T Intimidate does not affect either of them. But it's still really difficult because, if let's say Kamaal is running Trick Room and he does have the Escavalier in the back, then you're playing behind.
Yeah. I think that Enosh is really hoping that Kamaal will bring Latios. Because I know Enosh, and he's one of those guys who loves to EV everything to tank a Dragon Gem Draco.
Yeah.
He just loves it. Maybe it's how he gets his power. But, the source of his power. I
Yeah,
think,
I mean,
okay, we're starting on up.
it's. I was personally kind of surprised that Kamaal did not bring Latios just because it looks pretty good against Enosh. But maybe, who knows? We might even see rain from Enosh because that is a third of
I
its,
hope he
its
brings it.
team. It'd be
I hope
interesting, but the thing about Kingdra is you really can't bring it unless you bring the Politoed, so they kind of come as a package. Okay,
Yeah,
and we see a Cresselia and a Landorus T coming out from Kamaal.
I think Kamaal totally expected. Well,
Okay, why is there an Amoonguss?
why is there an Amoonguss? That's not right.
I think the Amoonguss is the Amoonguss
I
is
think that
there
we are
instead of the Kingdra. So you gotta go.
okay.
Matt Meldon.
Wow. Okay. Looks
that
like someone's
changes the
gonna have a
dynamic of
very
this
strong word with Enosh after the show.
battle.
Because I'm pretty sure that...
No, he put Amoonguss in the team like he sent us.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well,
something happened here, and I don't think it's our fault.
let's talk about Amoonguss. What do you think? That's actually really interesting because
I don't think we consider that at all. It's still gonna fall down to what, Kingdra? Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's there instead of the Kingdra.
All right.
I don't see any Kingdra on the stream anymore. I don't know about you.
Okay, yeah, it's empty.
Alright, so, I mean, matchup-wise, I still think Kamal's looking pretty good here, but, I don't know. The thing is here, Landorus T it wasted an Intimidate off, and it really can't do too much to Latios or Amoonguss.
I think we're gonna see U-turn.
I'd expect a U-turn here, too, for sure. Probably on Latios. But, I think Enosh definitely is in a better position here, just because finally, both sides aren't offering that much offense that he can get a Spore off on Cresselia, and Amoonguss is probably the slowest out of the four, so the Spore, Cresselia will be stuck here, and Kamaal goes for a switch right away into Tyranitar. I like that.
What I see, I just noticed, given our new friend, Amoonguss, a flaw in Kamaal's team is that he really doesn't have that much to deal with.
We see the Latias going for sorry to cut you off there, we see a Latias for a recover right away.
Jeez.
And, the Spore goes off onto Cresselia. And this is where things get interesting, because, okay, what I like is Kamaal, excuse me, got his Tyranitar in, and Tyranitar, now he's on the upper hand because Latios and Amoonguss don't do very much to Tyranitar, so now you'd expect Enosh to switch out to something that can really do something against a Tyranitar. Terrakion and Metagross both work in this situation.
Now, I think what we're gonna see is a switch to Terrakion from Latias.
Spore is scary, though, from Amoonguss, because Kamaal, he can't really one-hit KO that Amoonguss, other than, his team just does not allow him to one-hit KO an Amoonguss, and normally the way you take care of Amoonguss is you double target it with, 2 attacks, but with the Cresselia asleep here, and it hasn't even had one turn to try to attack, it's going to be either here for a while, or it has to switch out in order for Kamaal to get both of his Pokemon to do something.
Yeah, for those of you who don't really know the sleep mechanics, you have to have your Pokemon display a line of sleep for 1 to 3 turns. So that's the first turn right there.
Yep.
And Night-Night Tyranitar.
Did that Amoonguss just outspeed that Tyranitar?
It did. I think we're seeing everyone's favorite fast shroom. Oh my god.
That is
don't know. Aaron's fast shroom throughout all of 2011.
Yeah, and let's talk about Amoonguss. I think it's really interesting because we see the Breloom, a lot more common nowadays, because Breloom is something that can actually both Spore and attack. But Amoonguss is still really nice because it has that Rage Powder ability, and because it's so bulky, right? And
yeah, it's super bulky.
Yeah, it outspeeding Tyranitar is kind of surprising, but it works out really nicely in Enosh's favor.
Yeah.
if he can get some long-term sleeps here, and get that Amoonguss out of there so he can actually start attacking, then Kamaal's in some trouble. But what I like about Kamaal's team is it's just so bulky that even after a couple turns of sleep, Enosh still has to, get a switch out and then be able to attack. And after that, his Pokemon are probably awake by that time, so it's difficult.
Yeah. Okay, Latias is going for the Icy Wind, which Cresselia avoids. Slower Tyranitar isn't going to do much. It's already the slowest thing in the field.
Yeah, and I mean, there's really not. I guess it's a play if you're expecting a Landorus switch in again, but not the best of plays in my opinion. But he doesn't really have much else to go for. And Cresselia gets a Psychic off on Amoonguss. We see a Citrus Berry on it. That's interesting.
Alright, I really don't think that Kamaal has Trick Room, because Trick Room would have been the correct play in a number of these scenarios.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you on that one, especially after seeing that Tyranitar is slower than the Amoonguss. And we see, let's talk about the Citrus Berry on Amoonguss is interesting, because I actually see a lot more Lumberries on Amoonguss nowadays.
Yeah.
And
people like not losing sleep battles. Sleep battles, like, oh my god. Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't see more Lum in 2011.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, okay, and for those that don't know, Amoonguss was one of the most popular Pokemon in the 2011 metagame, and I and a bunch of other players began to run max speed Amoonguss, which is something that's really uncommon with Timid nature, and what that allows you to do is Tailwind was a really common strategy back in 2011, so you'd be able to outspeed actually every Pokemon in the metagame that wasn't Scarf pretty much by one speed point, 188, so the Genie's 179, and that's not really a strategy anymore just because our metagame is so bulky. I mean, it's oriented around bulk and how bulky your teams are, but I mean, here the Amoonguss probably isn't running max speed, but you have to imagine it's the Tyranitar.
It's got some speed.
Yeah.
And Enosh is also a big fan of speed creep, which is running Pokemon, giving Pokemon just a little bit more speed so that they outspeed the same species of Pokemon.
Okay, and we see a Metagross come in finally from Enosh. That's what I wanted to see, because he needs to start attacking. And Metagross is actually in a great position because the Intimidate from Landorus T does not do anything, and the only way for Kamaal to really hamper that Metagross's attack is with that Rotom Wash. And so he's finally in a position where he can actually offer some offense.
You know, Enosh really, really has the upper hand in this match.
Yeah, the adjustment was really nice, and the Amoonguss just changes the entire game.
Yeah, I wish. Why didn't he bring that the first time?
Beats me, but it is working out in his favor now. I can see why, because when you look at Kamaal's team, the Latios is somewhat intimidating, and so is Cresselia, and double targets on that team probably take care of it. But at the same time, now we see how useful it is in this matchup.
Yeah. All right. I think. What do you think Kamaal's fourth Pokemon is?
We see Landorus, Tyranitar, and I mean, last game we saw what? We saw the Landorus, the Tyranitar, the Cresselia, and the Rotom, right?
Yeah, Rotom.
So, I mean, I would think he'd bring Rotom again. I think Rotom is a pretty nice mom, but I'd like to see Latios, or actually all of them, I think could be pretty useful in this matchup. I think this is a matchup where it's not, you can actually manage to bring any of 4 of your 6 and still be able to do well, not one where you just can't bring any of your Pokemon. But I know Enosh's team, I think he mentioned this is basically what he used at Philadelphia in 2012, so it's really not, it's not in tune with our metagame, but it's still working.
Yeah, it's old, but it's a classic, like an old movie.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's interesting, for example, if he had Lumberry on Amoonguss instead, that wouldn't help him, but the Citrus Berry helped him here, and Lumberry on Metagross might have saved him from the Will-O-Wisp, but I like Psychic Gem, just not against Kamaal's team very much.
If it was a team built right now, it would be a Lum Metagross, but it is not a team built right now. Exactly. And here comes Rotom Wash, which kind of puts Kamaal in a hole.
Tyranitar does go for a Protect, Enosh is definitely in the driver's seat right now. Latias going for a Recover, nice play there. Recovering all the damage it's taken. And let's see. I'd imagine Metagross would go for an Iron Head here, but who knows? Maybe Enosh predicted that. He does go for Iron Head on Tyranitar. Yep. And now this is interesting because now Rotom, which outspeeds Metagross, can actually get a Will-O-Wisp off.
It's true, but he can just go right back into Amoonguss.
Right. And I mean, the substitute on Latias also makes it more difficult in general. And I mean, if you're Enosh, you could also go for something, say Dragon Pulse on the Rotom and Protect on your Metagross, and then I'm actually not sure if Dragon Pulse is even a 2-hit KO here, but you can also go for an Icy Wind actually.
It's Rotom is Citrus or no, it's Jesser, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what you could do here is Latias can also go for an Icy Wind, and I'm not sure if Rotom runs Protect. We've seen what Will-O-Wisp.
We've seen Will-O-Wisp,
Thunderbolt, and
yeah. It's probably got Thunder Wave and Rest. Yeah.
So it could be a Thunder Wave. I don't think it's Hydro Pump. Thunder Wave, Hydro Pump, or Protect, one of those. But we did see it outspeed the Metagross. So if Latias goes for an Icy Wind, Metagross can outspeed the following turn and get a Psychic Gems and Headbutt off too.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are a lot of moves that both players could make right now.
I think that we're definitely going to see Rotom staying in. Tyranitar is probably leaving us for Landorus, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, that's I think that's this is a really hard turn I think for both players, and Tyranitar is switching out.
No. No.
I think that is a safer Pokemon to switch into. Metagross going for Protect. That's and Latias does go for an Icy Wind.
Okay, so Kamaal knows how to play his team better than I know how to play his team.
Yeah, I mean I like that play because it's really the safest play. The way I look at it, Tyranitar, sure, it can get a crunch off, but then Latias it's free to set up another sub. And I guess if Kamaal, say, had like Thunder Wave on his Rotom, then maybe he could crunch a Thunder Wave to Latias. But that's a really, then you're leaving Metagross to attack both Rotom and Tyranitar. And that was a great play by Enosh. I mean, Enosh is just I think
it's definitely the safest thing he could do while still getting. Well, yeah, it's definitely the safe move. I think Metagross is out because he cannot risk another burn. If Metagross gets burned, Kamaal has access to Tyranitar. He can let Cresselia 1v1 any of the other Pokemon.
And now that Metagross can outspeed that Rotom Wash, I
didn't notice that. Sorry.
Yeah, you'd imagine a Psychic Gems and Headbutt on it, but at the same time, you can switch that into Tyranitar. And we do see Rotom swapping out for, what do you know, the Tyranitar. So let's see if Enosh predicted that properly.
Oh.
We see the Dragon Pulse on... Okay.
It's going to do minimal because of the speed, because of the Sandstorm.
But we do get a critical hit, and that does
not a fun game without a crit.
And and Cresselia does have Trick Room. I knew it. Surprised that we didn't see that earlier in the game, but wow.
There were so many good times for him to use Trick Room.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised, especially in the beginning when he had the Cresselia. I mean, in all fairness, his Cresselia was asleep, but
yeah.
Wow. You'd expect Trick Room for the last one because it's so rare when you see an Escavalier without Trick Room, and it's even rare when there is a Cresselia on the team. So,
but it's also really weird that he kept it for a game and a half. Especially when there were positions when he was getting outsped.
Yeah, and that crit, it's even though he got the Trick Room up, it's still really difficult for him to really do much with it, just because now, you can double target the Latias for... I'm not actually sure if that would even...
I wonder if it'll Bullet Punch Metagross.
Is he running Bullet Punch?
I have no idea, but we haven't seen all 4 moves, have we?
We've seen Iron Head, Zen Headbutt, and Protect, so it very well may be Bullet Punch, especially since there's no Swagger to take advantage of Earthquake on Enosh's side.
Yeah.
I think here that the main thing is Metagross. There's just no way for Kamaal to really efficiently take that down, and it's free to really attack either Tyranitar or Cresselia, and Latias, not really doing as much, but it's hiding under a sub, and you have to take care of that eventually. So, I mean,
Eventually.
yeah,
He's
like,
just letting it sit there.
the difficult part is, like, if you're Kamaal, like, a crunch and onto Metagross is, 2 crunches probably is not a 2-hit KO, and Ice Beam on Latias, takes care of the sub, but then you still have a Metagross just sitting there, and that's the threat you need to deal with right now.
Yeah, I think that once Tyranitar is dead, he needs to reverse that Trick Room.
Yeah, exactly.
He just is not going to play nice with Rotom Wash or Landorus.
It's just, and now I'm really wondering why Kamaal did not bring a Escavalier. I thought it would be a really great choice against Enosh's team if you get the Trick Room up. Just because, a bug...
Yeah, Bullet Punch, we are the best era.
Nicely predicted by you there, but unfortunately negated because of the Protect. The Ice Beam from Cresselia does break Latias to substitute, and Latias...
Oh no.
Oh, he goes for a Dragon Pulse onto the Cresselia, so getting some free damage off there. I like that play. And another critical hit. The luck is just with Enosh today. Wow. I'd imagine the one on Tyranitar actually probably...
It had a lot more.
Yeah, and that's what, if you're Enosh, you're really happy to see, just because Cresselia, like we mentioned earlier, just there's no efficient way for Enosh to really, take care of Cresselia when you don't have a Dark or Bugs super effective. And now with that critical hit, it's a lot more reasonable for you to handle that Cresselia.
I think this is really not... This is not going to go well at all for Kamaal.
Yeah, this is
we're like...
Especially, I mean, the 2 crits, I think, it's not that mattered as much as just the scenario, I mean, the situation we're in here where, now Tyranitar is in Bullet Punch range, and I'm not sure if the crit brought it down. I mean, whether the Metagross would have been able to KO it without the crit, but now even with that, the amount of HP Tyranitar has, you can Bullet Punch it, so Trick Room is basically useless.
Yep.
And Cresselia, sure, you can Ice Beam the Latias, but that's not going to do very much since it's so bulky. It can just Dragon Pulse you back, and after Sandstorm, after a turn or two, you'll faint eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Enosh has played this pretty brilliantly for...
Enosh has played this really well.
And it's actually really... I'm really glad we're getting to watch this set, because I think this is where you see VGC adjustment, it's where you analyze your opponent's team after the first game in a best 2 of 3 set, and you go, okay, I need to bring something else to really give me a win condition after how poorly the game 1 went for him. And Amoonguss really is the game-changing here, forcing sleep and switches.
I think that the next adjustment we are going to see is Rotom Wash gets the boot for a Scav whatever.
Yep.
The Bug Steel Pokemon.
I mean, I would like to see that too if on Kamaal's side. I mean, at first it kind of made sense, like, he didn't bring him because we thought there wasn't Trick Room on the Cresselia, but now, he can just go straight up Trick Room mode after the first turn. I'd expect Kamaal to rely on that a bit more going into Game 3, if we do see him, but it looks like at this situation we are.
Yeah, this is wrapped up right here.
And Metagross getting that Bullet Punch off, and Tyranitar does fade. Cresselia going for a Light Screen, okay.
Maybe that's so that Rotom won't die to Amoonguss. It'll take it nice and slow.
Yeah, but remember that the Metagross still does have the Psychic Gem, and it now is faster than Rotom under your Trick Room.
Oh, that's also true.
And so Trick Room has not done really anything for Kamaal. It's actually just forced him. Well, yeah.
In a better situation, it would have done a lot for him. If he had not been crit twice, he would be doing a lot more. But
I think it would be a close call, because if that Tyranitar still gets KO'd by Bullet Punch, then, I mean, even if it didn't get KO'd by Bullet Punch, once again, you have the whole issue of a Cresselia and a Tyranitar against a Metagross. Yeah. Like, when can you ever really do that much in that situation? Unless you're running, say, something ridiculous, like, I have HP fired with Cresselia with the Choice Specs on and crunched, but that's very rare. So I don't think that's what we're seeing here.
No, I don't think it is.
Good point.
Good, nice one. Really nailed it.
I'm just used to offensive Cresselia, so seeing no HP fire on Cresselia is a bit surprising, but I think it's Light Screen is really a really neat move to see, and we see Cresselia swapping out into Rotom.
This is a last ditch effort.
Yeah. Well, Enosh just going for the bullet punch there. Kind of surprised he didn't go for a Zen Headbutt actually. And Latias is slower than that Landers, so I assume it's Scarf, right? Did we see its item in the first game?
We didn't, but given that it's a favorite to be Scarfed, and that he doesn't really have anything. I mean, Kamaal doesn't have anything for like playing the fast game, really. Like,
yeah, and suddenly
as opposed to slow.
Yeah, I mean now I like the recover play from Enosh's side on turn 1. It's actually surprising like Kamaal did not go for a U-turn.
Yeah.
Even though it could have just been free damage, but that was the safest play definitely on Enosh's side. So for anyone that may be wondering why that happened in the first place, it was definitely a really good play, even though it didn't seem like it worked out.
Mm-hmm. And now with the death of Cresselia, well, it's just gonna sit around. He doesn't have anything to really touch Latias with because Trick Room is up.
Mm-hmm.
And once he takes down Latias, he has absolutely nothing to deal with Metagross.
And have we even seen Enosh's, we haven't even seen Enosh's fourth Pokemon yet.
Yeah. Wow.
And
looking at another 4.
This is just, I mean, yeah, I thought he might have, Kamaal might have been able to pull out something there if he went for an EQ that turn, because Metagross is the Pokemon you need to take down. But the U-turn there just kind of took that situation away from him.
Yeah. I think.
I mean,
I don't really think there's more that Kamaal can do unless he's gonna get really lucky.
And this is
Enosh tried. Didn't work out too well.
This is the 4th turn of Trick Room right now, right?
1, 2, 3. Yep, I think it's 4.
Yeah, and what Enosh can do here is go for a Zen Headbutt on the Rotom and just Icy Wind, and what that allows you to do is you get the KO on Rotom, and if he chooses to
Lander, if it comes in.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, there's really not much. I mean, Cresselia can go for an Ice Beam, but I think with the damage we've seen, it's not going to KO Latias, and if you do get and I really doubt that Rotom is running Protect, given its set.
No. Protect is not a fan favorite for Rotom.
Yeah, so we'll I mean, I'm sure we'll see something go down this turn, possibly even 2 Pokemon. And
starting to look like a double KO.
Yeah, and Enosh is, it looks like he's in the position to go for a 4-0 win.
Yep. And unlike last game, I don't think Kamaal can cheese a kill out.
Yeah, and okay, so we see a Cresselia just going for an Ice Beam, and Latias with all that. Oh, a freeze!
Oh, this is our favorite kind of game.
Oh, but the Zen Headbutt does go off. If we saw a miss there, that would have made things interesting.
That would have made things really interesting. Yeah, I think what's super neat is that he's doing exactly what you predicted he would. That was almost certainly an Icy Wind.
I think, yeah. I think like Kamaal was trying to bait out an Icy Wind before. Before he got the Rotom in, when he tried to switch in Rotom, so like the Rotom would underspeed the Metagross under Trick Room, or outspeed actually. Yeah. But Enosh just didn't fall into that trap, and the freeze, unfortunate. But
yeah, a necessary casualty.
Yeah, and this game is essentially over because that Lander's C is Choice Scarfed, and well, it depends on what Enosh's
KO's Metagross, we'll get to see Enosh's 4th Pokemon.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's Thundurus. If it's Terrakion, then this game might actually get more interesting. But we do see the Thundurus.
Yep, he's got Thundurus, and that's the game.
Yeah, the game is essentially over because that Landers C is locked into Choice Scarf, and there's no way for him to hit Thundurus at all. And
I think we'll see it come down.
Yeah.
Earthquake. Or maybe he'll just want to kill one Pokemon.
like we saw in the last game.
Yeah. It's always nice to not get 4-0'd. Yeah. That's something that I take pleasure in.
And it feels terrible when you do get 4-0 and you see your opponent even switch for that 4th Pokemon.
And we've got 81 people watching.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, it's always good. Fight to the finish. You hear that, Wolfie? Fight to the finish.
Yeah, never surrender. There's always a chance for victory, and I don't think we'll be seeing a victory here, but...
Oh, no.
Also, I
Enosh
mean,
is
okay,
not letting him have it. No mercy.
Enosh does reveal that he is running hidden power on his lenders there. I would assume ice. And
So,
would it...
even when
Oh,
with
it's
what
not
I said-
choice scarf.
Huh.
I don't know why everyone is telling me that it was then. Okay, I'm
Thanks a
not
lot.
relying on the chat anymore. I will rely on natural intuition.
that down.
Thank you, Nugget Rich chat.
Oh, that survived to the light
Oh,
screen.
because of light screen.
You know, maybe it's Focus Sash.
I think it's definitely Focus Sash. If it's not Yakshay or Choice Scarf, I can't imagine it being anything else. It could be something crazy like a gem, but we've seen rock and ground and no gem there. So it's a pretty standard rock slide, EQ, U-turn, protect, and Focus Sash is most likely the last one.
Maybe it's Expert Belt too. That might also.
That'd be interesting.
Alright, so Enosh wins 4-0. No mercy, no kills.
Wow, this is a really exciting set actually. I think I love Enosh's team just because it's something that, I mean, it's an outdated team, but it's a team that I actually really enjoyed watching him use at regionals, and now it's just it's doing work, and even though it's outdated.
Get with it at regionals.
Hmm?
How far did he get with it at regionals?
He made top 4. I think he lost to Jive Time in top 4. Yeah.
He probably got 3rd place.
Yeah. Yeah. He actually did get 3rd place. You're right. And for those that don't know, Enosh is
our friend Enosh
is our local 3rd place player. He just happens to get 3rd place at every tournament. He's gotten 3rd place at World, 3rd place at regionals, 3rd place at regionals again. Just 3 3rd places.
3rd place in beauty pageant. You know, he's got it all.
Exactly. But I mean, once again, both of these players are having a really great season. Kamaal winning a regional, finally breaking out. And Enosh is what? He's got in top 4, and top 8.
You know, I think that Nationals is really going to be Kamaal's time to shine. Because in
it's interesting because, I'm actually working on a Nationals preview article right now, and Kamaal was always like the safe pick you can go with. You know, you expect him to top cut because he's just such a consistent player.
That's the consistency that a defensive play style brings. Like, to play offense, but that's not consistent at all.
Yeah, and here's the scary thing. Kamaal is a really strong player, but in terms of championship points, he is currently 11th place, and he's tied for 12th. And as you know, the top 12 players in North America after Nationals get an invitation to the 2013 World Championships. And I know he played in the Wi-Fi tournament recently.
Do you know how well he was doing?
I think enough for probably 2 CP. Maybe 4. I don't think 4, though. I know Randy will probably get above him, and Randy's currently behind in 13th place. But in terms of CP, 8th to 13th right now is all really close, just different from 6 points. So if Kamaal can do better than players such as Trista, Ben, Iron, Simon, and Hayden and Randy at Nationals, he's in a good chance for another Worlds invite.
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, he's looking for a really good Nationals. Last year he got top 16th.
And he only lost to Mango Soul because of Sandvale.
Yeah, just gonna throw that out there. Bright Powder isn't that nice of an item to run. You know, doesn't make your opponents feel good about themselves. Public service announcement.
Yeah, and Kamaal, he cut Nationals in 09, made Worlds that year. 2010, I don't really remember. I don't think he was at Nats.
I feel like he did well.
Yeah, you always feel like Kamaal does well.
That's just the vibe you get from him.
Yeah, in 2011, he went to a bunch of regionals. I know he actually, he looked really tired at one of the regionals, and Enosh and I were actually joking around because he looked like he fell asleep during a battle. But, alas, he ended up qualifying for Worlds in LCQ, and so he has 2 Worlds invites to today, and he can make it 3 if he has a good Nationals win.
Yeah,
And Enosh is still looking for his first Masters invite, actually, after coming so close last year, but missing out on just one best.
That's Enosh's catchphrase. Quote, slow, close.
I'm always one game away. But who knows? I mean, Enosh is in a great position right now. He's currently number 7 in terms of CP.
He's a really solid player, and he made it to top 8 at Nationals. And he only lost to Wolfie, who kind of probably used some secret psychic abilities on him.
He did.
So,
Wolfie counter team. Well, not counter team, but he speed creep the swords and scissor actually, so that it would outspeed Enosh's Ludicolo out of range. That kind of
Wolfie prepares that hard for a player like Enosh, you know
He's good.
that that's a good player. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Enosh hasn't had a bad tournament since LCQ, where he did lose to Starmie, but
Hey, that happens to everyone.
yep, I lost in 2 turns to Fly Dragonite and Giga Impact slacking in the recent international challenge, so
Oh,
cannot offend anyone for losing to Starmie.
it's okay. I lost to Scarf Soak Basculin, and then Gem Thunderous. So that wasn't that much
We're all
fun.
known for, our losses to Dolman and silly stuff once in a while, and we're finally seeing the 3rd game.
Yep.
And Enosh going for Thunderous Metagross, and Kamaal finally brings a Latios. Ooh.
Latios. He is changing things up. But
What do you think about this?
the problem here is that this Thunderous... Actually, I thought that it was going to be Eevee to take a Dragon Gem Draco Meteor, but
Based off the HP, I don't think so.
yeah, I don't think we're going to see that.
I think he might be running something. I know Enosh loves running sub-offensive Thunderous. Substitute HPI's T-Bolt, Taunt, actually, we saw Taunt on this Thunderous, and he might not even run T-Wave.
Ooh, as noted by our viewers, you can't lose in 2 turns to Giga Impact.
Excuse me, I actually ran after... well, I think... okay. How it worked was the Dragonite outraged, I protected, and then it KO'd something, and then he had Fire Punch, and he Fire Punched my Scissor, and my Scissor fainted. So he won in 3 turns, excuse me.
Oh.
But
Right.
it was very embarrassing, and as Ray Rizzo points out, it takes skill to lose. Not 2 turns anymore, but it takes skill to lose to a Fly and Giga Impact. And now, Calm Lava telling me to grow up.
We can talk more about Fly after the game. Okay, he's
Yep.
getting taunted. I think we might see...
Oh, a trick! Wow!
Oh...
What do you think that is? A scarf? Specs? I think scarf. Yep.
Metagross gets Choice Scarf. Okay. Oh, and now he has Psychic Gem. That is a great idea.
That's pretty funny, actually. It could actually come to use here.
And now, instead of using Dragon Gem, he can use Psychic to take out Thunderous.
Yeah,
Alright.
I actually don't think... What do we see Rotom go for a Will-O-Wisp there? I missed that.
It went for Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt, right. Thunderbolt and Trick.
Yeah.
Nice play by Kamaal there.
What's really cool is that Kamaal is, he's outplaying us. If we were against Kamaal, we would fall for his tricks.
The thing here is, Scarf is actually nice on Metagross. If you're a Nosh, you'll take it. It's better than something like Choice Specs, which makes your attack basically completely useless. Here, it's actually pretty... you can actually help him out by outspeeding that Latios if his Metagross is fast enough.
He's got a lot... Kamaal, they're both T. Kamaal has a lot of stuff in the back that can just tank Iron Heads all day.
Yep.
And, as happened in Game 1, once Metagross gets Will-O-Wisp, it is dead weight. Especially
but after
now
that taunt,
right.
It's difficult now, and I think here is, I still don't expect Rotom to carry Hydro Pump, and that's nice because of Rotom with T-Bolt. We saw it's a 3-hit KO on Metagross, so Metagross would be able to tank one, and Thunderous, I assume, has a E-Gem T-Bolt coming on Rotom's way, which probably 2-hit KOs the Rotom. So, it's tough. I think you'd have to imagine a couple switches for Kamaal here.
Yep. Just waiting on Kamaal to move. I think Latios is on its way out, unless it's got... Oh, Metagross is on its way out.
I think that's because Enosh actually does not know his speed, the amount of speed he has on that Metagross, and I don't know why he just did not check. But we do see the Rotom swap out. I didn't expect Landorus, but he does come in with a Tyranitar. That works out pretty nicely, actually.
If he goes for the double switch right now, he is not...
With that Amoonguss switch in, it's actually really nice that Tyranitar is out. And Thunder is going for HP. Wow, outspeeding the Latios. Whoa! Does not KO.
But due to Sandstorm, it's practically dead.
Huh.
And since that's Hidden Power Fire, it'll still be doing a lot to Amoonguss, which I'm guessing has more defense than offense.
Yeah, 2 things to note there. 1, Thunderous outsped Latios, and 2, HPIs did not take care of Latios. Maybe Thunderous is a bit bulky.
Yeah.
Maybe running some special defense EVs, something like that. But wow, that was Yeah, I'd probably assume Modest Latios there with the Choice Scarf, considering how much damage it did to Amoonguss.
The problem is, now that Latios is dead, can't deal with Amoonguss. He needs to get rid of Amoonguss right now.
Yeah.
And it's still got Citrus. Oh my god, come on.
And no, it makes sense. I don't know what I'm saying. It makes sense let the Latios to not get KO'd from that hidden power because I'm sure it runs more HP EVs due to the fact it is Scarfed. But
I haven't Latios, so I have no idea.
Yeah. But I'm still a bit surprised just because this Thundurus is very offensive based off what I've seen. So not seeing a KO there is always surprising. Now, but let's talk about the situation we're in right now. I think Kamaal's in a good spot now.
I'm not so sure because that Amoonguss outspeeds Cresselia, and you know he's gonna go for the Spore.
Oh, that's right. It outspeeds, yeah.
So.
Wow.
I feel like if he could get a Trick Room off and kill Amoonguss, he'd be in a great spot because Metagross has that Choice Scarf, which isn't going to help it against both Tyranitar and Rotom W.
Yep.
It's going to do one or the other, and jeez. Oh, but he's still got Taunt on Thundurus. I think Kamaal's in the corner.
I just looked at the pace bin from Enosh, and he is running the most offensive Thundurus you can. VGC 2011, like actually with max speed and attack. So he does not have anything like swag or anything ridiculous. We have seen.
Have you checked the HP or whatever?
His Thundurus is not running any bulk at all, and the Latios you'd have to assume is running some bulk. But it's still surprised. I'm still surprised it didn't get a KO. It must be really bulky HP wise. And we see a switch into Metagross and a T-Bolt from Thundurus onto the Cresselia.
That's probably so you can smack it around with the Iron Head.
Yeah. Oh, is that a crit? Yes, it is.
Oh.
These crits are just
there's been so many crits.
They're just bailing Enosh out because he has no way to hit that Cresselia.
Yeah.
And a Cresselia, I mean, yeah, going for a Psychic onto the Metagross. I'm surprised he did not go for a Trick Room, but you're always scared of Taunt, so it kind of makes sense. And an Avoid! Oh! How unfortunate. This is just... Things could not have gone worse for Kamaal that turn.
Going off of what we were talking about with 2012 Nationals, Kamaal is not the luckiest of guys around.
Yeah. This is the reason why, this is the reason why he tends to underperform in tournaments. I mean, he's definitely good enough to win a tournament, say Nationals, but after that turn, I mean, this is the kind of stuff like he runs into, and that was just unfortunate. Wow.
And now Metagross
what do you even do? You need, I mean, like, wow. Yeah, Metagross, free to Iron Head either Mons this turn.
Yep, I think he might go for Tyranitar.
Yeah, I would go for Tyranitar.
He would expect this.
Cresselia goes into a Rotom, and Thundurus goes for a Thunderbolt. And does less than half, so... Okay. Oh, a double target onto the Rotom Wash. And wow, Iron Head did barely anything.
Yeah, that's because of that awesome electric typing.
And Crunch, coming so close, but does not KO the Metagross. And now Kamaal is actually not in such a bad situation. Because...
Yeah, he turned it around reasonably well. And
fortunately, Enosh's Thundurus is not running he's not running Swagger, so he can't use dumb stuff with that. And he has Thunder Wave, so we haven't seen a Thunder Wave yet. You might expect it in a last-ditch effort here, but Kamaal, even after a Rock Slide miss, not in the worst of scenarios after getting that Rotom.
After a crit and a Rock Slide miss, except for the fact that Amoonguss is still watching with that awful grin. Because if it gets a switch in when one or two of these Pokemon die, Rotom W can't touch it. Tyranitar hasn't had any moves revealed that can hurt it especially. And Cresselia is low and doesn't outspeed it. Yeah. Latias. Alright.
I think I agree with that. Thundurus going for a Thunderbolt on Rotom, that makes sense. I'd imagine Rotom actually might go for a rest here, but he goes for gets the KO. And Tyranitar gets a Rock Slide off on both.
But given that both Pokemon are way faster than Cresselia... That's a shame because Thunderous would certainly have been dead turns ago.
Yeah. And okay, one thing that I think a lot of people, including myself, why we're all confused is why Kamaal is not bringing the Escavalier to these battles. We know that Enosh is not running a fire attack on any of his Pokemon, and he's bringing Landorus, and Landorus, you know, it's decent, but the thing I hate about Landorus is you tend to end up in a scenario where Landorus can only hit one of two Pokemon for, you know, with an Earthquake or a Rock Slide, and the other tends to resist it.
Landorus is an awkward Pokemon to have because Earthquake is going to hit Tyranitar. Rock Slide isn't going to really touch any of his of Enosh's Pokemon as hard as he would like it to, especially, and it's going to be outperformed by Tyranitar there anyway. U-turn someone else has to take his attack, and it doesn't really do anything. Like, it probably would not have done more than half to Latias.
Oh, did we see a double target there onto the Cresselia? I think we did.
I think we did.
Wow.
But Enosh is confident that Tyranitar will sleep, and he still has Citrus on Amoonguss.
That is true.
I'd like to say that the crit really mattered, but given Amoonguss's presence, I don't know that it did. Amoonguss for Prez, 2016.
Yeah, and now it's Amoonguss and Latias versus... Is it just Kamaal Tyranitar now? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good play. I mean, yeah, now you can just fire off recovers and Giga Drains and Spores, and it's going to take a while, but I think pretty much Enosh has pretty much locked this battle in. Really nice set between the two, though.
Yeah. Oh my god, this was an amazing set. I'm so glad that we could cast this.
Yeah, it was really fun. Definitely nice sets on both sides. I think Kamaal probably could have adjusted better after his really big victory in the first game. Yeah. I'm just surprised that there's no. Yeah, I think Escavalier could have been huge here, but
I don't really know if that fits his, style in general. Like, change doesn't really seem like his thing.
Yeah.
These are definitely matches that I would not mind watching on a screen on the second day of Nationals.
Yeah, and we can still see some ridiculous stuff happen here. I don't know. Actually, with that Citrus on Amoonguss, probably not. But I mean, who knows? Maybe Kamaal has
maybe some crits.
Yeah, you go for a crunch crit on that Amoonguss after this turn. Latias can see that's why I don't like Latias very much in this situation, just because you only have Dragon Pulse to really hit that Tyranitar, but you do have Recover too, so yeah.
It's just gonna sit there and
Kamaal can, if he gets a Wake Up this turn, the battle will be interesting, and Latias opts for a substitute.
But he still has Recover.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think one-on-one it just ends up being how much Crunch and Recover. How Crunch and Recover trade off, and with that Giga Drain, Amoonguss is looking bulky as ever. And we do see a Wake Up. He goes for the Crunch.
Crunch on Amoonguss.
Oh my gosh!
If he gets a crit and or Death Drop.
Oh!
Nope. He really wanted the defense drop there, but it wasn't.
Dang.
If we see more one-turn sleeps from Tyranitar, it's gonna outlive Amoonguss.
Yeah, that's
And Latias is probably gonna do about half of that with its Dragon Pulse, because the trade-off that that Enosh has made here is defense for power.
Yeah.
So that Dragon Pulse is not as strong as it could be.
Oh man! Wow. This is it's not over yet, folks.
No. Yes, we were presumptuous, and now we are paying for our our mistake.
Oh, yeah. This is let's see. Latias going for the Dragon Pulse.
Because that will be.
I'd probably say doing around maybe a fifth.
No.
Yeah,
nope. Takes it down.
I think this. I think it's pretty much over.
And the thing is that we've seen Latias take a crunch at full HP. So we know that Enosh gave it some Wheaties in defense.
Yeah. But But now
He's just
now he gets another Dragon Pulse and a Giga Drain off, and then he'll get a following Dragon Pulse on the Latias.
Mhm,
So
and
two Dragon Pulses plus a Giga Drain should be enough to take care of that.
I don't know if a Rock Slide will take out the sub, but right now it shouldn't matter because of Moongus outspeeds.
Yeah.
I think that I have some questions here about this game in general. Number one, why isn't Kamaal more prepared for anything sleeping his entire life?
Yeah, you would think that's the number one thing you should prepare for, especially
With the Breloom.
Yeah.
Or, I used to
This is where Amoonguss actually does a better job than Breloom. And Tyranitar, it woke up.
Yep.
Bringing it down to a close 1-0 finish, but
yeah, which is definitely better than what we've seen in the past 2 games.
Yeah. You know, it's unfortunate. The hacks against Kamaal, you had what? The 2 crits, was that the last game, I think?
That's Pokemon. That's why we all love Pokemon so much. We all just want to see more critical hits.
Yeah, I mean, just
what?
looking over the matches, I think Enosh played it really as well as he could have after, you know, just kind of getting destroyed in game 1. But, yeah.
The second question I had was, why didn't Enosh bring a Moongus game 1?
Yeah, now seeing that was on his party, Amoonguss is it's one of those mons where it's like, it can be really useful, but it can also be really worthless if your opponent just double targets it, say with a Psyshock or a double target. But now knowing it's Citrus Berry, it's actually a lot bulkier than, I mean, with its natural bulk and Citrus Berry, it can survive a lot, but...
Yeah. Jeez. Okay. Protect number 2. It's probably gonna recover.
It's still possible.
Yeah. That's 9 HP a turn.
Oh, he got it!
Oh, yes.
2 down. Come on.
Yeah, okay, so we're looking at 4 more protects, which is about...
No, he didn't go for it!
Oh no, you probably recover.
Oh yeah, actually, that's a good point. But, I mean, if you're a human, you would probably just keep on.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a wonderful set, though.
That was nice. You can see in the reflection that Enosh rests on his victory. He looks at the camera, smiles, looks down, presses
really well played, and I'm glad Enosh ended up bringing, you know, a decent team instead of fake dive cats, which probably would have been just a repeat of what happened.
About that.
Yeah, last week we would have just seen what happened last week, where we saw the kind of gimmicky team get run over.
Mm-hmm. I've been told that it was actually 11 HP a turn. Sorry, I can't count when it's hot outside.
Yeah, I see where Kamaal was going there, why he didn't go for a protect. If Enosh had, you know, been silly enough to actually go for the cover there, then Kamaal would actually get a win. But, I mean, the chance of anyone getting, like, 5 protects in a row is pretty ridiculous in itself, and in that situation, I think it's just safe to assume they're not going to get the 5 protects and just Dragon Pulse.
Yep.
And I'm based off what Kamaal is saying, the set he was running wouldn't have really helped on his Cavalier, which I'm wondering what his set really was. But all right, let's. I think we have a couple of questions to wrap up.
All right, cool. So question number 1 for us is from Darkiness VGC. Which part of the newly released Nationals information are you most pumped about?
Well, I think for me, as a competitive player who's close to clinching his World's Invite, definitely top 32. Top cut is definitely my strong suit. I always tend to squeak into cut. You know, not as one of the higher seeds. Excluding Massachusetts, that was just a lucky tournament. But you know, past 2 Nationals went X2 in both, and then went X3 in 2010. So getting the chance to pretty much safely make cut with the X2 record, since I do have a bye, is really exciting, and you know, hopefully I can make it into the elimination round and, you know, go for another championship. What do you think is exciting?
Well, I'm not gonna be at Nationals, which is sad. I'm kind of interested to see what comes out of Nationals, because the way this metagame has worked, we had some random stuff in early 2012, and then it got more solidified, and by Nationals, everyone was pretty much running the same stuff. But then by Worlds, we saw an interesting combination of both um, the new with Wolfie's team and the really standard with Ray's team.
Yeah.
And then at fall regionals, all the way up to spring regionals of this year, we saw the popularity of Breloom and Liepard and Rage Powderball Corona. So I think that something new is coming in nationals, and I can't wait for it.
I'm excited. Yeah, we'll see. And for anyone still watching, wondering why the Scavalier was not brought out, Kamaal did tell us that his set was something like Iron Head, X Scissor, Sword Stance, Protect, and he actually wanted to practice with Scissor, but he couldn't get it online. He practiced online, but he couldn't get it into the game, which makes a bit more sense. It's that Escavalier without like a Mega Horn on it, without Mega Horn on the set, is considerably weaker, I think. Especially without a gem, because with that gem it does get really KOs, and X Scissor it's tough to really set up Escavalier with Sword Stance.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Things a bit. Yeah.
But regardless, it was still a good set, and with what
It was amazing.
Kamaal had to work with, now it makes a bit more sense. Like, he didn't bring Escavalier.
Yep.
And I do believe we have one more question.
One more? Okay. What are our thoughts on the matchup between more defensively oriented Korean/Japanese team and American/European teams, which tend to be a little bit more offensively oriented?
So the thing with this question is that I think now the countries, it's hard to really generalize. I think in 2012, Europe was really considered like kind of more weaker country because their finals were, I mean, to be quite honest, there were like maybe 8 Pokemon used that were Zapdos, Hitmontop, Metagross, Cresselia, Tyranitar, Garchomp, stuff like that, you know? There really wasn't much creativity, and in one of the national finals, actually, it was the 2 teams were actually clones of each other, and the 2 opponents led with the same 2 Pokemon, a shiny Hitmontop and a shiny Zapdos.
Oh my god, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, but I think my point for this is, I think now with all the resources out there, we're at a point where countries are kind of getting stronger, and I think Europe is considerably stronger than it has been in previous years, and I think the finals this year were a lot more exciting and not as offensive as people expect them to be, and I don't think Korea and Japan are as defensive as you really, I guess, think they are. I mean,
yeah.
I think, I mean, obviously...
Korea is not that defensive, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely not. It's hard to put them together, but I love Korean teams, as everyone knows. They inspire me to build some good stuff, and but I mean, like, for Japan, you know, we recently had Japanese nationals, and the thing about that were the teams, it's kind of underwhelming. I mean, it was cool, but we saw like a Trick Rain team really get into the finals, and that's not something you'd expect to make it all the way to the finals of a, you know, like a Japanese tournament.
Yeah.
But because of the format,
I really liked Ellison. Yeah,
it was a really cool meet. But I think what I'm getting with at this question is, I don't really think you can really generalize like Korean and Japanese teams as defensively oriented and American and European teams as offensively oriented, just because now I think we're all going to more defensive. But if the question is just defense versus offense, I think defense tends to win.
All right, let's not get hasty now.
Yeah.
Offense is pretty dark.
Okay, why don't you're a big fan of offense, and you know how that works.
I'm a pretty big proponent of, of offense, and I think that while defense definitely has the advantage, it's a lot more fun to watch and play offense. I don't know. I definitely see it losing to defense a lot. You're right.
No, I used Wolfie's team at Worlds, and that was a really defensive team, and we also used, you know, hyper offensive teams like my 2011 team. 2012 was semi-offensive too, and I have to say Liepard was a really offensive team. I think I like playing with offensive more. It's just more exciting, and I really don't like it when a game goes down to time, because, you know, because of, like, you know, at Worlds, 30 minutes.
I actually saw someone mention that the second game of this set was over 20 minutes, which means that we spent way too much time on it, because these games are usually timed to 20 minutes.
Yeah, but that's what I like about casual matches. You give the players more time to think, and you get to see, you know, less moves under the pressure.
It keeps the pressure off, because there's a lot of pressure at these things.
Exactly, and
I know that some of us miss our moves because of pressure.
Okay, and one final question I see here in the Twitch chat is Cobra VGC. wants to know, do you think there will be an underdog at nationals? What do you think, Aaron?
I mean, seniors division, no. Usually not underdogs in the seniors division. We've usually seen all the big names.
I think we tend to see bigger names at the top. You know, yours truly and you too back in 2011. But I think we do see some people that come out of nowhere. You know, we saw Codios in 2011 and Mosquito both qualifying for Worlds, and Brandon Tang actually. Three players that we did not have very much intel on going into the tournament. And in 2012, Paul Chua, Pawnee Person VGC, now regarded as probably the best senior in America, came out of nowhere also, top 4 and almost beat me. And I think Toller was also one of those, you know, really underrated. You don't really expect, we didn't really expect him to do well in comparison to, you know, some of the bigger names. But, you know, hey, he ended up becoming world champion. So I think how nationals tends to work, there will be really big names that tends to, you know, that don't get phased by the pressure and make it to the top. But then there are also some really players that haven't broken out yet, like get a chance to really shine in the spotlight.
The way that going back to seniors, because we're obviously two senior experts, having been in for a couple of years. The way that nationals for seniors usually works is the people who we know win nationals and do well at nationals. Like, all of our friends did really, really consistently well the past 2 years. And then we've had not very strong worlds. And I don't think we've really seen many underdogs at nationals. Mango Soul was an underdog at nationals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't
really
think
came out of nowhere
expected that. Really cool.
Sandman, Danny. Yeah. You know, the others in the top 8, we had Wolfie, Sandman, Danny, Crow, Luke, Zach. You know, those are all players that you'd expect to make top. And Human, yeah, those are like, I think 7 of those 8 are really favorites. Anyone could have really won. But yeah, Mango Soul was really the one underdog, and there were a bunch of underdogs that made it into cut. You know, names that we didn't really know. And Cobra here says, "I'm trying to get Geo," and you know, Geo has been one of the players in our community. Yeah, he's a cool guy. I could see him doing well. You know, he hasn't really had a breakout performance yet. I know he went 6-2 at Virginia, and he only lost to that's because he lost to Ray in one of the later rounds.
He also cut. No, he almost cut at Providence, right? Yeah.
Right, and I believe I think he might have actually ended up winning the last international challenge. So if he does carry that if he actually did end up winning, and my sources aren't wrong, he carries that momentum into nationals. You know, we'll see. But for anyone interested in nationals, there are 2 articles coming up soon. One by Talon, talking about the seniors overview of what nationals will look like in terms of competition at seniors, and yeah, so that should be really exciting. I think seniors is I'm gonna love watching it. Kind of sad we won't be able to play in it, but
I'm kind of sad to be out of it.
Yeah,
slowly we're getting kicked out of that division. I'm excited that we can see senior finals and master finals this year.
Yeah, and you know, it's really setting up for streams. So hopefully we'll see some really official coverage this year. Fingers crossed. Yeah, that should be exciting. You know. Personally, I'm sad because the 2 years I made it into the finals are the 2 years they didn't separate it, and you know, my sets were pretty exciting. But
I remember you living one thing with 1 HP. It's fine.
Yeah,
No.
It's a good setup. Pokemon is definitely moving in the right, you know, in the right direction. And so I guess we should probably finish up now. But to answer that question, I do believe there will be underdogs. I think the 2 nationals articles that are coming out, one by Talon for seniors and one by Scott and a bunch of other people. I know I'm working on it too for masters. We'll mention people who will most likely be underrated players that have a good shot at breaking out at nationals. And so you should definitely look to those 2 articles because they'll be out in just no time.
All right, and we are supposed to announce the next matchup for Tuesday Night Fights, which is Smith versus Sandman. Exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't seen Sandman play since last year, so it'll be good to watch him back.
Sandman actually defeated me twice last year. That was fun. I like that.
Okay, so on behalf of Nugget Bridge, myself, Aaron, Matt, and everyone else, thank you for watching today's edition of Tuesday Night Fights, and we hope you tune in next week.
Yep. See you then.
Bye-bye.